Welcome back to DIY My Way. If you followed my channel for a while, and particularly the shop build, you've seen me outfit the shop with various storage and shelving solutions, but I've got one more problem to tackle. And that is to come up with a better way to store my plywood and panel inventory. If I can do that, I can free up this wall and build shelving like I have on the other sections of walls that I have, which I'd really like to do. I decided to build a rolling plywood and wood storage cart so it can be moved around the shop if needed. And I wanted to build it with materials I had on hand if possible, with one exception which you'll see later. Also, I wanted it to be simple to build and easily adapted for changing needs. So I started picking through my lumber piles. I happened to have quite a few 2x6 by 10 foot pressure treated boards left over from a project, so I took a few into the shop. They certainly don't have to be pressure treated, but they were what I had available. First, I cut 6 4-foot and 3 3-foot lengths of board. By the way, my recently installed air conditioning unit is keeping me cool and sweat-free during the build. There, that's all 6 of the 4-footers. After cutting the 3 3-foot lengths, I start the assembly. The 3-foot lengths will form the base. Any longer and I felt the cart would take up too much floor space. The 4-foot lengths will serve as the leaning uprights. Also, I wanted 10 inches on either side so that it can hold a generous amount of plywood or lumber. After making sure the pieces are lined up correctly, I measure the angle, which turns out to be 99 degrees. That translates to a 9-degree cut on the bottom of the 4-foot boards for a flush fit with the base. I use a framing square to make guidelines from the 10-inch marks. Then drill 1/8 inch pilot holes slightly to the inside of the line and angled about 9 degrees toward the upright. Next, I use 3-inch coated deck screws to secure the uprights to the base. I repeat for the other side. Next, I line up the top ends of the uprights. Clamp them together. And again, drill pilot holes and use 3-inch coated deck screws to fasten them together. To assemble the second frame section, I stack the pieces on top of the first frame section to make sure everything is exactly aligned and repeat the steps used on the first one. And again for the third frame section. Then I stand the frame sections up and space them 8 feet apart with the center section exactly in the middle. Next, I rip some 8-foot pieces of OSB board leftovers to 10 inches wide. That's one. And that's two. I place one on either side of the frames and make sure they're lined up. Then I place a piece in the middle that already happened to be the right width. You'll see why I put this in later in the video. I take a final measurement to make sure the middle frame is still in the middle. Then use 1 1/4 inch screws to attach the OSB panels, 6 for each end of the outer boards. Next, I clamp the first of the 8 foot by 1 foot OSB side panels at the top of one side of the uprights. Now you could use a whole sheet on either side, but I had several of these pieces on hand, so I decided to use 3 per side. I make sure the panel is square with the frame before attaching it with just one screw at first. Then I confirm square on the other end and add a screw. I make sure I'm still square on the first end, then check the middle frame for square before adding a screw. Now I can add the rest of the screws, 6 in each end for racking strength and 3 in the middle. I repeat for the other side. Then add the first bottom panel. And the second. After adding middle panels to both sides, I flip the cart on its side to attach the first of the 1 by 2 inch by 8 foot edge boards with 2 inch coated deck screws. The edge boards will keep the stored plywood from sliding off the cart. The pilot hole is especially important at the end of the board to minimize splitting. Next, I add my favorite locking casters to the bottom 4 corners. I position them to make sure I can get to the locking levers from both the side and the ends of the cart. These are the only items that I didn't have on hand and had to order. They are Glow-era 4-inch locking casters with 1,200 pound capacity. I've used them on many of my implement dolly builds. There's a link to them in the video description. I mark the hole position, drill small pilot holes, and use number 14 1 1/4 inch screws to attach them. I flip the cart to the other side to install the other edge board and casters. Next, I measure to the middle between the end and the center frame to add two 2x4 by 3 foot cross supports underneath. I clamp the cross supports on both sides, then secure them with two 2-inch coated deck screws on each side. That's one done. And that's the other. So what do you think so far? I think it's starting to look pretty good. But wait, there's more. This makes a versatile platform that you can customize to your needs in many ways. For instance, you might want to add a vertical storage area on one side. Or you could use pieces of 2x4 to make supports for regular lumber. Or just on one side so the other side can hold plywood and other panel lumber. Better yet, you could use lengths of pipe through holes drilled in the frame sections, which would give you many options on one side or both sides. Since I already have a wall-mounted lumber rack, and I'm fairly sure I'll need both sides for panel lumber, I'll leave it as is for now. Next, I attach some 2x2 cross pieces for some extra storage. These can be used to store long skinny pieces like dowels and trim, as you'll see shortly. Time to move the cart in front of my wood rack, where it will normally stay. All right, at last I'm ready to load this thing up. Now, depending on what I find in there will determine whether I leave both sides for plywood and panel type stuff, or if I outfit one side with shelves or something so that I can put stacked lumber on one side. Have a feeling I'm going to use both sides for plywood and paneling and that type of thing. So let's find out. First, I have a full sheet of OSB panel I can put on the cart. After that, it takes a good bit of sorting to get to the other full sheets of panel, which I want to load on the cart first, followed by smaller scraps of panel. As you can see, the lower middle storage area is perfect for long, narrow strips of panel. I moved the cart to make it easier to load the other side. I've collected a lot of scrap pieces over the years of projects. This cart will be a great solution for efficiently storing it and for easy access. There's even room for my drywall scraps. This thing rolls a lot harder now that it's loaded up. Imagine that. But it does roll. Might have to pull it around with a tractor. So now with this plywood and lumber cart, I have whatever plywood or lumber I might need at my fingertips, either from this side or this side. So besides having a great plywood and lumber cart, I now have this great blank canvas on which I can build shelves on this wall, which I've been wanting to do for a long time. Well, I hope you found this video helpful and maybe even a little bit entertaining. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you'd click that like button, leave a comment, and by all means, please subscribe. And if you want to know when I post new videos, click that little bell. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.